Because I'm here for one reason and one reason only, is that Florida and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. It's on, and the road to victory runs right through Florida. It really is great to be with you all. And if you've got a seat, you can take it. You know, I don't know if you all got to see it, but I was just in Utah the other night. We had a little debate with Kamala Harris. Some people think we did all right. But I want to be clear, from where I was sitting, that debate was not just a debate between 2 candidates for vice president. It was a debate between 2 visions for America. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want higher taxes, open borders, socialized medicine. They want to abolish fossil fuels, use taxpayer funding to pay for abortion. Right. They want to defund the police and pack the Supreme Court. President Donald Trump's vision for America is a little bit different. President Trump has rebuilt our military. We cut taxes. We rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, secured our border, supported law enforcement, life and liberty, and the Constitution of the United States. You know, when you compare the Biden-Harris agenda with our agenda, the choice is clear. If you cherish faith and freedom and law and order and life, we need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. You know, it's amazing to think how far we've come. 4 years ago, we inherited a military that had been hollowed out by devastating budget cuts, an economy struggling to break out of the worst recession, or the worst recovery since the Great Depression. Terrorism was on the rise around the world. We witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values. But in 3 short years, we rebuilt our military. We restored the arsenal of democracy. And as the proud father of a United States Marine and the father-in-law of a Navy pilot, I couldn't be more proud to tell you, we are finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard and Space Force the support that they need to defend this nation. And that's just what we've done. We stood strong for freedom. Our armed forces have defended this nation. We stood with our allies and stood up to our enemies. And under President Donald Trump, we have stood for freedom across this hemisphere, for all the freedom-loving people. Under President Trump's leadership, the United States was the first nation on earth to recognize President Juan Guaido as the only legitimate president of Venezuela. And under this president, America has been clear. Maduro must go, and America will stand with the people of Venezuela until their libertad is restored. And where Joe Biden, as vice president, served in a time when America was appeasing the communist regime in Havana, President Donald Trump kept the promise that he made to Cuban Americans when he reversed the failed policies of the last administration toward Cuba. In this White House, it will always be, Que viva Cuba Libre! So we've stood with those who serve, and we've stood for freedom in this hemisphere of freedom. And we've stood every day with all the men and women who have worn the uniform of the United States of America. After years of scandal, when Joe Biden was vice president. Years of scandal at the VA that literally saw veterans perishing as they waited care. President Donald Trump has passed the most sweeping reforms of the VA in 50 years. We have fired thousands of employees that were not providing the care, and Veterans Choice is now available for every veteran in America. I have to tell you, I can see already that there are some heroes in our midst. If you're able, if you wore the uniform of the United States, would you mind either standing or raising your hand and giving us a chance to say thank you one more time for your service to America? Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. So we didn't just rebuild our military. I'm proud to report to all of you sitting out in the sun, and I don't know who set up this arrangement. I'd be happy to be out in the sun here. I'm ready to take the heat to drive a victory on November 3rd. Thank you for being here. We didn't just rebuild our military, but this president from day one revived our economy. In our first 3 years, we turned this economy around. Where Joe Biden wants to raise taxes, President Trump cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses. We rolled back more federal red tape in our first 3 years than any administration in American history. We unleashed American energy. We fought for free and fair trade. And in just 3 short years, businesses large and small created 7 million good-paying jobs, including 500,000 jobs right here in the Sunshine State. Florida saw its lowest unemployment rate in history, 2.8%. And most important to the president and me, we saw wages rising across the board. And wages were rising most rapidly for hard-working blue-collar Americans. And as I stand here at this Latinos for Trump gathering, I'm proud to report to you. Under this president's leadership, in those first 3 years, we achieved the lowest unemployment ever recorded for Hispanic Americans. Latinos are for Trump because Trump has been a champion of jobs and opportunity for Latino Americans. You know, during this National Hispanic Heritage Month, as President Trump said, we know Latinos embody the very best of America's values: commitment to faith, family, to hard work, and the American dream. This past summer, the president established what we called the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative to continue to build on the momentum that we've made over the last 3.5 years. You know, when Joe Biden was vice president, less than half of Hispanics owned their own home. But under President Donald Trump, Hispanic home ownership has increased by 11%, and more than half of Hispanics in America are now home owners. We've also created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones all across America that are lifting many minorities out of poverty. Will have a direct impact on more than 400,000 Hispanics. And right here in Florida, 1.9 million people live in one of the 427 opportunity zones that are attracting billions of dollars of investment that are going to create jobs in our communities all across this state. And here in Florida, where you have the largest school choice program in the country, and 38% of the participants are Hispanic Americans, you all deserve to know. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would end school choice. They want to shut down charter schools. But I promise you, President Donald Trump and I believe that every parent should be able to choose where their children go to school regardless of their income and their area code. And we're going to fight for more school choice for 4 more years. And the results have been incredible. In our first 3 years, Hispanics enjoyed record high graduation rates across the country and record low poverty rates. In fact, since 2016, more than 1 million Hispanic children have been lifted out of poverty. And nearly half of the jobs that were created in our first 3 years went to Hispanic Americans. That's what we call promises made and promises kept. So I'm excited to talk to you about that record and see the enthusiasm today on this cool and breezy day in Florida. And you all are out here today because this president's been keeping his promise. And it's also probably why Puerto Rico Governor Wanda Vazquez-Garcet just endorsed President Donald Trump for re-election as President of the United States. This week, the governor of Puerto Rico asked people in that territory to vote for the person who's been there for Puerto Rico in its most difficult moments. And she said very plainly, it is Donald Trump. She thanked the president for rebuilding Puerto Rico, not just with words, but with actions. And she said, thanks to the president's leadership, pharmaceutical manufacturing is coming back to the island. China is fired and Puerto Rico is hired. So for Hispanic Americans and every American of every background, we need to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. We've stood for our national defense. We delivered on jobs in those first 3 years. And President Donald Trump has stood every day for the rule of law. As I stand before you today, this president has seen more than 230 conservative judges appointed to our courts at every level, and they are all men and women who will uphold the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Last month, as a nation, we paused to honor the life and service of the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But when the memorials were over, President Trump fulfilled his duty under the Constitution of the United States, and he nominated a principled, brilliant, conservative woman who loves the Constitution to the Supreme Court. He nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Well, let me make you a promise. After the Senate gets done advising and consenting, we're going to fill that seat. I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of Judge Amy Coney Barrett. And not just because she's from Indiana, because she is truly a remarkable person. And she deserves a dignified hearing, a dignified and respectful hearing in the United States Senate. But men and women, we have reason to be concerned. You all remember when she was concerned to the Court of Appeals just 2 short years ago, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee criticized her Catholic faith. Senator Dianne Feinstein said, quote, "The dogma lives loudly within you." And Hollywood elites have already begun to criticize Judge Barrett and her family for their faith. Well, I got news for the Democrats and their friends in Hollywood. That dogma lives loudly in me. That dogma lives loudly in you. And the right to live, to work, to worship according to the dictates of our faith lives loudly in the Constitution of the United States of America. and these attacks on Judge Amy Coney Barrett's faith must stop. So the Senate has a job to do, and they'll be about it next week. But I thank you for your strong support. And I want to thank both of the great senators from the state of Florida who have been there every step of the way. So President Donald Trump has stood every day for the rule of law. And this president has stood with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement, and we always will. Now, you all know what the president and I know. The men and women who serve in law enforcement are some of the best people in this country. And I know people at this Latinos for Trump gathering are proud that Hispanic Americans serve in law enforcement at every level, and half of our border agents in America are Hispanic Americans. And those who serve in law enforcement deserve the respect of every American every single day. Now, the President and I will always support the right of Americans to peaceful protest. It's enshrined in our Constitution. But rioting and looting is not peaceful protest. Burning businesses is not free speech. Violence against innocent civilians, the destruction of property, or violence against law enforcement will not be tolerated, and those who do these things will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Now, for months, all Joe Biden talked about was peaceful protesters, as the American people watched businesses and cities around the country literally burn to the ground. I had a guest at the debate last week, Flora Westbrook. She started a business in Minneapolis 35 years ago. She served the African American community with great pride. She told me the story about how just 2 days after the killing of George Floyd, she watched as the protesters were closer and closer and closer to her business until the night they burned her out. But I spoke to Flora again yesterday. She's back home in Minneapolis. And I told her, America is with you, Flora, and we are going to rebuild bigger and better than ever before. You know, the truth is Joe Biden would double down on the very policies that have led to violence in our major cities. I mean, when you start to withdraw support from those who protect and serve, you only embolden those who would do harm to our families. Now, Joe Biden explains it all by saying that, quote, America is systemically racist. And he even said, as Kamala Harris said in our debate the other night, that police have a, quote, implicit bias against minorities. Joe was asked if he supported cutting funding to law enforcement. He said, yes, absolutely. And his running mate recently applauded the decision by the mayor of Los Angeles to cut $150 million from the police budget. Well, I'll make you a promise. Under President Donald Trump, we're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever. We're going to back the blue. I mean, President Trump and I know what you all know. We don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement and supporting our African American neighbors, our Hispanic American neighbors, or any of the families that live in our major cities. We have done both for the last 3.5 years, and we're going to keep doing both for 4 more years. We're going to have law and order in every city for every American, regardless of race or creed or color. So help me God. So we've stood for the rule of law, for law and order. And from day one, I'm proud to report here at Central Christian University, President Donald Trump has stood every day for the religious freedom of every American of every faith. From early on in this administration, our president has reaffirmed our commitment to our first freedom. He took action to protect the conscience rights of doctors and nurses and teachers and religious charities. And President Donald Trump ended the assault of the last administration on the Little Sisters of the Poor. And not long ago, the Supreme Court of the United States made it permanent by a 7-2 vote. Now, you all deserve to know that when Joe Biden was vice president, the last administration literally hauled the Little Sisters of the Poor into federal court to force them to compromise their faith, to live under the new mandates of Obamacare. But under this president, I promise you, we've stood for religious liberty every single day, and we're going to keep standing for the freedom of religion of every American of every faith for 4 more years. And as we speak about our values, I can't tell you how proud I am to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. President Donald Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. So we've rebuilt our military, revived our economy, stood for law and order, our liberties and life. And in 3 short years, with the strong support of Latinos for Trump, we made America great again. It's true. And then the coronavirus struck from China. But I'm here to tell you, when there were just 5 cases of the coronavirus in the United States in late January, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done when he suspended all travel from China, the 2nd largest economy in the world. He put the health of America first. Now, Joe Biden said that was, quote, hysterical and xenophobic. He actually wrote an editorial in January that said that suspending travel would actually make things worse. But I can tell you, as head of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, President Trump's decisive leadership saved untold American lives, and it gave us time to stand up the largest national mobilization since World War II. It's the truth. We reinvented testing. More than 120 million tests done so far. We saw to the manufacture and delivery of hundreds of millions of medical supplies to our incredible doctors and nurses. We're developing medicines that are literally saving lives. And we're on track today. With 5 different companies in phase 3 clinical trials, we are on track today to have the first safe and effective coronavirus vaccine before the end of this year, with tens of millions of doses ready to go. And let me say on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of concern and prayers for our first family over the past week. I spoke to the President this morning before I came to Florida, and I can tell you, he and the First Lady are doing just great. But the President and I both feel the outpouring of concern for them was just emblematic of the love and the concern and the care that's been shown all across this country. And so to all of those that have been impacted by the coronavirus, to families that have suffered loss, you'll always be on our hearts. And can we just take a moment to say thanks to the doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and everyone who's been there to help the American people through this challenging time. They are heroes all. Incredible people. With their help, with your help, we're slowing the spread. We're protecting the vulnerable. We'll keep saving lives. And we're opening up America again. You know, with that strong foundation that President Trump poured in those first 3 years, with the unprecedented economic recovery support for families and businesses, just in the last 5 months alone, after having lost 22 million jobs at the height of this pandemic, we've already seen 11.5 million Americans go back to work, including 631,000 people right here in Florida. We're opening up America. And we're opening up America's schools. I'm proud to report to you that school teacher I married 35 years ago is already back in the classroom. And just a few weeks ago, we announced that literally we're distributing 100 million rapid tests to school nurses and school systems around the country so we can get our kids back in the classroom and keep them back in the classroom safe and sound. Let me just say, after a challenging summer here in the Sunshine State, because of the cooperation of this people of the state, you've made incredible progress. But I want to say from my heart, none of that would have been possible without the strong, compassionate, and steady leadership of Governor Ron DeSantis. Would you join me in thanking Governor Ron DeSantis for his great leadership of this state? So we've gone through a time of testing, but in 24 days, we're coming to a time for choosing. And that's what brought me here today. The choice in this election has never been clearer, and the stakes have never been higher. It's amazing to think in the middle of a global pandemic, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion. President Trump, we not only cut taxes in our first 3 years, we're going to cut taxes on middle-class Americans for the next 4 years. Joe Biden wants to bury our economy under an avalanche of red tape. He had to be reminded in that last debate that he supports the Green New Deal. In fact, he wants to put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. President Donald Trump, he took us out of the Paris Climate Accord. He put the jobs and prosperity of America first. We cut more red tape than any administration in history, and we're going to keep on chopping for 4 more years. And Joe Biden's for open borders, sanctuary cities. President Donald Trump, we've made record investments in border security. We've supported our Customs and Border Patrol as never before. We've already built more than 300 miles of our border wall, and with 4 more years, we're going to fix this broken immigration system once and for all. We're going to do it. When it comes to trade, the contrast couldn't be more clear as well. You know, out in the heartland, we saw the impact of NAFTA up close and personal. I mean, did you know in the 25 years since NAFTA was signed into law, we saw 60,000 factories close across this country? When Joe Biden was vice president, and for all those years in the Senate, he never lifted a finger to renegotiate it or fix it. But thanks to the man who wrote The Art of the Deal, Americans got a better deal. NAFTA is gone, and the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement is here. And it's a win for Florida and a win for America. And where Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China every day. President Donald Trump put China on notice on day one and said the era of economic surrender is over, and we will continue to stand strong until China opens their markets to U.S. goods and agriculture and respects the private property rights of every American. And where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want a government takeover of health care that would put us on an inexorable path to socialized medicine. I mean, did you see Bernie Sanders the other day reminded the country that he'll be writing the health care reform if they win the Senate? I think Latinos for Trump. No better than most. We can reform our health care system. We can protect pre-existing conditions, and we can make sure that America will never be a socialist country. The families in Florida, including the many, many that have fled from countries facing tyranny and oppression and socialism, know that your voice is more important than ever before. And how about Maximo at the Republican National Convention? Wasn't he amazing? He told the story. You know, when you look at their agenda, it's clear. Joe Biden would be nothing more than a Trojan horse for the radical left. I mean, Joe Biden has said that democracy is on the ballot. And I believe our economic recovery is on the ballot. I believe law and order are on the ballot. But I also think there are things much more fundamental and foundational to our country that are on the ballot. In this election, I think it's not just whether America will be more conservative or more liberal, more Republican or more Democrat, more red or more blue. I think the choice in this election is whether America remains America. It's whether we allow Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to steer our nation on a path of more government and less freedom, the path to socialism and decline, or whether we'll renew our commitment as a nation to the path of freedom, personal responsibility, and a boundless American future. So men and women, for our freedom, and for all the ideals that have always made America great, we need to decide right here and right now that Joe Biden will never be president of the United States of America. We're going to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. Quattro indeed. So I need you to tell your neighbors and friends what 4 more years means. They'd say, I ran into Mike. I was sitting in the sun. And he told me to tell you, 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more judges. 4 more years means more support for our troops and our cops. And you tell them I said it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. Oh, we're draining it. 4 years ago, a movement was born. A movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. Here in Florida, you believe we could be strong again. You believe we could be prosperous again. You said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I don't know Florida's going to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump on November 3rd, 2020. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us, folks. It's on. It's time to go to work. I've served alongside this president all of this administration. I've only known him for the last 4 years, but I love you too. Let me tell you, he and I have gotten to be very close friends. Some people think we're a little bit different. But the truth is, I've come to see him when the cameras are off. And I can tell you firsthand, there's never been a day that President Donald Trump, against overwhelming opposition from the Democrats and many of their allies in the media, there's never been a day that President Donald Trump hasn't gotten up to fight to keep the promises that he made to all of you. And now it's our turn to fight for him. It's on, Florida. So I need you to bring this passion. Bring all your enthusiasm. Keep voicing your support. Tell your neighbors and friends all across the Sunshine State and all across America. And tell all the Latinos for Trump why we need this president and all he's done for us. Talk to people at work, at worship. Go out and tell the story. You know, I honestly believe 4 years ago, when all the polls were saying things were going to go a different way, that the American people were talking to one another. You know, the most powerful media in this country is now and always has been word of mouth. And so I want you to remember that there's nothing more powerful than when someone who knows you and respects you hears from you about an issue that you think is important for them and their family in this state and this nation. So let your voice be heard. And when you speak to your neighbors and friends, I'd encourage you to have faith. Have faith in the American people. You know, I really do believe a careful study of American history proves that every time the American people have been given a clear choice between more freedom or less freedom, the American people choose more freedom every single time. So talk to your neighbors and friends and tell them freedom's on the line and our future of freedom in America. And finally, I'd also encourage you in the 24 days that we have between now and Election Day, standing here at this great Christian university, if you're inclined to bow the head or bend the knee from time to time, I encourage you to do that too. You know, as President Trump often says, this is a nation of faith. You know, the sweetest words the President and I ever hear, is traveling all across this country, when people will reach out and say, I'm praying for you. We hear it a lot. And it's caused me to believe, as I've traveled the nation, that while it looks on television, like I told that little girl, if you saw it down in Utah this week at the debate, I had a question from a little girl that said she was watching television. It seemed like all Americans do were arguing anymore. I said, I'll always believe that there will always be more that unites us in these United States than could ever divide us, and chief among those things is faith. And so in these challenging times of too much division, in the challenging times as we face this global pandemic and its aftermath, as we rebuild and reopen America, I'd just encourage you to pray for America. Pray for all the American people. And when you pray, pray with confidence that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray and turn, that he'll do like he's always done in much more challenging times than we could possibly imagine. He'll hear from heaven, and he'll heal this land. This one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America, for all the American people. It'll make a difference. So I want to thank you for coming out today. And while I'm at it, thank you for the privilege of serving as your vice president. It's the greatest honor of my life. But I want to be your vice president for 4 more years. But I leave here today with renewed confidence that if all of us do all that we need to do over the next 24 days, with your support, with your voice, to Latinos for Trump and people all across this great state. I know we're going to make Florida and America more prosperous than ever before. I know we're going to make Florida and America safer than ever before. And with a renewed Republican majority in the United States Senate, a new Republican majority in the House of Representatives, with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we're going to make America great again, again. Thank you very much, Florida. Let's go get it done. God bless you and God bless America.